agree. It's being done out in the open. It's being done in the light of day. We're not doing it at the 11th hour here or as we're on our way up to the Capitol to see the next president being sworn in. And I might add, I don't think there's any doubt who's actually signing these pardons. You know, at the end of Biden's term, we had thousands of people that were pardoned or offered some kind of clemency for drug offenses. I have my doubts about whether Joe Biden signed all of those. And there's obviously, because of the new books that are out, clear reporting here that there was something of a Politburo running the White House at the end of the Biden administration when many of the most controversial pardons were issued. So in this case, Donald Trump, I think, is fully owning all of these decisions. And I agree with Ellie. In the Grimm case, if for no other reason than this paralysis that he suffered and the fact that he'd paid his debt, I think it's a defensible decision.
And in fact,
courts. If the courts are going to be the ones who are shaping policy, does the president wish he would have just become a judge instead?
I think the president would take this job over being a judge, and certainly the president is acting within his authority. He wishes judges would do the same.
This is just an extraordinary testament to the importance of having a president who understands the power of diplomacy and understands the strength that rests in understanding the significance of diplomacy and strengthening alliances. This is an incredible day.
Well, here's the question. What percentage of job loss is fine and okay when the president of the United States, when the president of the United States,
job loss, we're almost at full employment. What are you talking about?
There's no job loss in America.
One at a time. One at a time.
There's no job loss in America.
Hold on a second.
What are you talking about? Let me ask a question.
We're at full employment.
Is the claim that there have been absolutely no jobs lost because of the disruptions created by the tariff?
Have you not looked at the unemployment numbers? You better read the numbers.
No, I'm asking a question.
We're almost at full employment. We're almost at full. What are you talking about?
That's what Trump was handed.
That's an evasion.
That's what he was handed. He's doing
the economy's on fire.
He's doing
what are you talking about?
Damage to the American economy. Nobody is taking us.
What is this job loss? The economy is on fire.
The economy is doing okay.
Guys, brand damage to the American brand. We are a laughing stock. We're a laughing stock in Europe, a laughing stock in Asia. If you're inside the Trump bubble and you're on Twitter with all the bros, it hits hard. It's really good.
That's not what the numbers say. The number one destination for invested capital on earth is still over 50% in America. Tonight, right now. So I don't know what you're talking about for a laughing stock. The money pours in. Trillions of dollars comes to America. Why? Best place to invest on earth.
Largest consumer economy.
I think, Kevin, you're making a great, one second, you're making a great argument for why.
Because I'm right.
Is Elon right? Does the big, beautiful bill undermine what Doge was all about?
Well, look, I think the Doge cuts need to be made, but as you pointed out, Laura, that's $9 billion against the backdrop of a $36 trillion national debt, on track to become $60 trillion in 10 years, with a $2 trillion deficit each year. It's like picking a barnacle off the back of a whale. We got to deal with the actual issue at some point. We're going to have the courage to take on independence from the federal entitlement state. That's what we actually need to be talking about. And I personally believe that everything else ends up being a distraction from the real topic of dealing with this national debt issue. Ask the question of how we're going to start with a generation of Americans who hopefully becomes so wealthy that they don't need the federal entitlement state that Lyndon Johnson created.
Senator, we just got breaking news. Senator,
ships.
Yeah, Senator, I'm so sorry to interrupt. We just got other breaking news. The big news tonight. A federal court just blocked the majority of Trump's tariffs. The Court of International Trade saying he overstepped his authority under an International Emergency Economic Powers Act. This was, I believe, the three-judge panel. There was a Reagan appointee, a Trump appointee, and a Biden appointee on this particular panel. This was kind of widely predicted among those who study trade closely. So those European tariffs blocked. Senator, your reaction?
You mean that a federal judge has intervened with the other two branches' ability to make policy? I'm shocked. That hasn't happened since yesterday.
5 minutes ago.
It'll be appealed. I think it's pretty clear that the president has tariff authority. Congress gave it to him. Now, you can debate whether that was a prudent move or not, But I think it's pretty clear that he has tariff authority.
Yeah.
And,
so this again,
I
this
think
was
it'll be reversed on appeal.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're going to go to the Supreme Court, Senator. It was a 3-judge panel, 2 Republican.
I guess the question is, are you all on the same page? Are you seeing what they saw, which was moments of, frankly, that appeared to be, you appeared to be confused?
Lester, look, why don't you guys ever talk about the 28 lies he told? Where are you on this? Why didn't the press ever talk about that? 28 times it's confirmed he lied in that debate. I had a bad night. I wasn't feeling well at all. And I had been, without it making, I screwed up. But
I just asked the question because the idea that you may or may not have seen what some of these other folks have seen, you're not on the same.
I'd have to see. I was there. I'd have to see it. I was there. And by the way, seriously, you won't answer the question, but why didn't the press talk about all the lies he told?
Well,
I didn't know anything about that.
We have reported many of the issues that came up during that debate.
No, you haven't.
We'll provide you with them.
God love you.
Okay. Said he's giving you a chance to redeem yourself. Basically, the idea of engaging in another debate.
We're going to have another debate.
Yeah, you're going to have one in September that's on the books. Would you be open to doing one in the next few weeks?
I'm going to debate him when we agreed to debate, and I'm going to debate him in September.
But if the opportunity came up to do one between now and then, is there a sense of wanting to get back on the horse?
I'm on the horse. Where have you been? I've done 22 major events, met thousands of people, overwhelming crowds, a lot happening. I'm on the horse. What I'm doing is going out and demonstrating to the American people that I have command of all my faculties, that I don't need notes, I don't need teleprompter. I can go out and answer any questions at all. And I stood there when NATO was in town. I stood there for an hour and answered questions.
If you were to continue to run and be officially nominated, what happens if you have another episode like we saw during the debate?
What happens if another?
Yeah, what happens if you have another performance on that on that level?
I don't plan on having another performance on that level.
All right. Mr. President, it's always good to talk.
People closest to Donald Trump during the campaign saying he's got early stage of dementia. He repeats the same stories over and over again, and not a single person who works for him doesn't know he has early signs of dementia.
People are saying we have to talk about his health now before it's too late.
There are now more than 26,000 signatures on an online petition entitled "Mental Health Professionals Declare Trump is Mentally Ill and Must Be Removed."
Some thought he might be suffering from early Alzheimer's.
It makes me recall people who are in the early stages of Alzheimer's.
There have been reports that the president has forgotten names, that he's repeating himself. Are you ruling out things like early onset Alzheimer's? Are you looking at dementia-like symptoms?
Are we watching the beginnings of dementia?
People suggest that dementia is setting in. Who knows what the story is?
Limited cognitive ability. This is what you talk about in a dementia case.
The White House getting very defensive today about the president's health.
Does the president have heart disease?
Does the president have heart disease?
Does the president have heart disease?
So the president has heart disease.
The president has heart disease.
There's been so much speculation about the unusual trip Trump took to Walter Reed last weekend. Trump says he went for a very routine physical because he had extra time. But does it all add up?
It quickly led to rumors he had a heart attack.
We all know that there's something going on. We all know that this is some cover-up from the White House.
Trump wouldn't be the first president to hide health issues.
Is the president of the United States suffering from some sort of illness?
I am, for one, exhausted today to wake up and continue to give credit and see the revelations of the mainstream media reporting that the sky is blue for years of telling us the sky is red when you and I know the sky is blue. So I am exhausted of hearing stuff like this from Jake Tapper.
We never got somebody that said, we should never have done this. I can't believe we did it. In retrospect, it was a mistake. How arrogant we were. I mean, even, there was a top White House aide who acknowledged to me that this short 10, 15-minute interview I did with Joe Biden in October 2022, he would not have been capable of doing in October 2023. I think that most were telling the truth as much as they had come to terms with it themselves, but I do wonder where they will be in a year.
You know, enough of Jake Tapper, who had the nerve to tell Stephen A. Smith that he also now sees that Letitia James was engaged in lawfare. We knew that. Those of us willing to tell the truth were called conspiracy theorists. We were called irresponsible. I don't need to wake up today once more to hear a new revelation from Jake Tapper for something you and I knew for the past half decade.
Have it? Okay, I'm being told we have it. Thank you. Run it, please.
Excuse me, to protest. Excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as you, and you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
That was President Trump saying that very fine people were marching alongside neo-Nazis and skinheads and white supremacists.
I've condemned neo-Nazis. I've condemned many different groups, but not all of those people were neo-Nazis, believe me. Not all of those people were white supremacists. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
This is a president who said there were, quote, very fine people on both sides in a Charlottesville neo-Nazi Klan march in Charlottesville, and his infamous reference to very fine people. There were, quote, very fine people on both sides of that Charlottesville, Virginia march. And candidate Trump, I tried to get him 3 times to condemn David Duke. He wouldn't do it.
Well, you've got David Duke just joined, a bigot, a racist, a problem. I mean, this is not exactly the people you want in your party.
A lot of people think that he has a soft spot in his heart for, or at least won't condemn, white supremacists.
As I said on Saturday, we condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence. It has no place in America. Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal.
And there's this big effort by Trump supporters to pretend that the president didn't say what he said, to call this all a hoax.
And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
Have some courage for once. Apologize for all of your fake news at CNN that has led to this attempted assassination of President Trump, Jake. Shameful behavior from CNN. You guys have blood on your hands. You have blood on your hands, Jake. When are you going to apologize to the American people for lying about President Trump for years? When are you going to call out Joe Biden for saying that it's time to put President Trump in a bullseye? Come on, you're always talking so much.
All right, Thursday night, and we are live. Hope everybody's doing good as always. Be blessed in the mighty name of Jesus. Let me see who is in the chat tonight. Deb Plan is on. BP2 Tim 17 is on. Scooter 8887 is on. Christopher Arnott is on. Richard Perry is on. Lady Boo is on. Skunk 71 is on. Sheila K is on. Tim L. T-Bird is on. Spoken 007 is on. General Plowman is on. Snarl Barkley's on. Sparky is on. Hassle Free TV is on. Mike Griffith is on. Paul's NYC is on. Let me see here. Robin Roney's on. USA Abbey Girl is on. Deb Plan is on. Hanslick Donovan is on. LA 106 Times is on. Judy Anita is on. Granite 2468 is on. Praise Holler is on. Joe Heathen is on. 11 Carl 11 is on. Lady Vu is on. Spoken 007 is on. Golf Master 1 is on. Gloyd Shaw is on. Maligator is on. Skunk 71 is on. Snag Dog is on. Snarl Barkley is on. I already said that one, but anyway. Let's say hello again, Snarl Barkley. Milwaukee James is on. Clean Sanchez is on. John Phillips is on. K4 VMS is on. D9597 is on. Gucci Buckeyes on. DC 94.1 is on. Let me see here. Laura Jean Lynn is on. Guitar Glenn is on. Uncle Wally is on. Appreciate each and every one of you guys. Just a couple things off of the pregame. I can't get past the Jake Tapper thing. I apologize if it's getting redundant for some of you. You're getting sick and tired of hearing it. But the guy is on this national book tour with his book entitled Original Sin about the cover-up of the Biden mental decline, of which he was a participant in, and now writes a book as if he was not a participant in it. I mean, it truly is amazing. You know, you saw the video that we played where he had all the media claims, including Tapper, the media claims that Donald Trump, from 17 to 21, I just wrote a couple of them down, that he had early onset dementia, the possibility of early onset dementia. And there was one story after another about Trump's early onset dementia, early onset Alzheimer's, all of this between 17 and 21. And then they claimed that he had heart disease. And then they claimed that he possibly had a heart attack. And not one story about the mental decline of Joe Biden. Not one. And it was all obvious. And again, Jake Tapper is on and about saying the only reason why I didn't report on it was because the White House lied to me. You couldn't see it? Isn't that the essence of being a journalist?
Yes.
Is being able to see it for yourself? I mean, look at that Lester Holt interview and you do nothing. And by the way, the Lester Holt interview was post the horrible debate, but this had been going on since 19. We all saw it. We choose truth over facts. I mean, the myriad, the myriad of just gaffes, the Joe Biden gaffes, it's hard to imitate them because there are a bunch of words that are combined into one giant, ununderstandable amalgam. America can be described in one word. I mean, you can't even, I love when people actually do put it like phonically, what his words are, and they make absolutely no sense. And then you see Tapper right there doing the Vine people hoax. I mean, that is absolute. I mean, Tapper's out there right now talking about his 15-year-old son, how the Democratic Party can't reach his 15-year-old son, who's linebacker and all this different stuff. And how does he look that boy in the eye every day? And yes, I'm saying it, Jake. I don't care, because I'm not denigrating your son. I'm asking you how you look your son in the eye every day and go out and say, first of all, that you had no idea. I had no idea because nobody in the White House told me that Joe Biden had a mental decline. Therefore, I just couldn't know. I couldn't possibly know because the White House lied to me, even though it's in your face every single day. He's falling down. He can't finish sentences. He's falling asleep. He loses his train of thought. It's right in front of your face every day, but because you're a Goebbels propagandist for the DNC and for the CIA as a member of the Mockingbird media, you just continue to espouse the lies. And then you see, I just wonder how you can look, number one, how can you look your son in the face after being a Goebbels propagandist? And then also the Charlottesville lie. You know that they cut the tape, Jake. You know they edited that videotape. You know they edited the recording. That they cut off the part where he says, I'm not talking about white supremacists. He said it. I'm not talking about neo-Nazis and white supremacists. There are good people on both sides. I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis. He says actually before that. You know that, Jake. Imagine being so devoid of integrity that you know it's an edited tape and that the editing has made that videotape espouse a bold-faced lie, and you go out as a Goebbels propagandist and espouse it as true. And you go home and look at your 15-year-old son in the eye as dad, as just a political whore for the Democratic Party. And now he's out here on this book tour claiming there's no way for me to have ever known that Joe Biden was having a mental decline because I was lied to in the White House. And it was the same thing in that other CNN panel where they're trying to get you to deny what your lying eyes are seeing. Where you have Kevin O'Leary versus that Jennifer Welch on that panel that Scott Jennings is usually on. And this Jennifer Welch is saying that the United States is a laughing stock around the globe. It's exactly the opposite. She says that our economy is in a collapse. It's exactly the opposite. Imagine just going out. It would be like a tsunami coming to the shore and you see it coming. And you go out and say, nothing's happening. Or going out the reverse and saying that it is happening when it's not. You know that it's not. And this is what this woman's doing. She's going out and saying that we're a laughing stock around the globe. You have Keir Starmer, who couldn't have bent over any faster. You have the leader of Great Britain, one of the greatest empires, former greatest empires in history, and a nuclear power, and a Five Eyes country, comes out and says, we are going to have to stop banning speech. Tommy Robinson gets released from prison. We're going to have to stop banning speech because Trump's not going to do any deals with us. Aaron, does that sound like a laughingstock to you? No. How about you, Will? No, it doesn't sound like a laughingstock to me. That sounds like a whole bunch of people that are scared. You had the Israeli-American hostage released recently, and he said as soon as Trump took office, his treatment became exponentially better. Started torturing him, started feeding him, started treating him civilly right when Trump began because they were terrified of him. Is that a laughingstock? $14 trillion in deals, foreign and domestic, mainly foreign, and economic investment into the United States of America. And that's his laughingstock? That's a laughingstock when Joe Biden did 0.0? $14 trillion. And by the way, this is what, day 128? Day 128, and he has secured $14 trillion in foreign and domestic investment into our economy, and Joe Biden secured negative trillions. Joe Biden spent at $1.9 trillion deficits every single year, and we're a laughing stock now, and the economy is in a collapse when Donald Trump added 577,000 non-government, non-illegal alien jobs in April alone. And we're a laughing stock and we're an economy in decline. That's why Kevin O'Leary is just going off. It's like, what decline? That's what I say all the time. COVID, where are the buddies? You're claiming this calamity. Where's the evidence? Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy. Give me a list of 3 reasons why he's a threat to democracy. He's a totalitarian dictator. Give me 3 characteristics of how he is that. I would love to see it. None of them can. They just give the thing that I hate the most, because I love specificity and statistics. They give vast generalities. Trump's a dictator. How? We're a laughingstock. How? The economy is in a decline. How? Just like they used to say the economy was great. The exact opposite. Everything they say is bold-faced lies. One bold-faced lie after another. We just name them all. One bold-faced lie after another. Russian bounty hoax. Russian collusion hoax. Russia. One hoax after another. The vaccine hoax. The pandemic hoax. One hoax after another. The endless race hustling hoaxes where you have a hangman's noose found in a garage, Jesse Smollett. They're just liars because they are of their father, the devil, who is the father of lies. So it's just unbelievable how they just get up there and lie. All right, let's go to the border right away here. Talking all things Trump here. We're going to focus a little, when I get to it, on Trump's latest court victories. We will actually get to that. All right, Salty Tech, we'll go to the border first. Salty Texan video. Now, here it is. This is unbelievable. And this woman has to be charged, just like the congresswoman out of the state of Maryland that was charged, cheating for obstructing ICE, and for battery on a federal officer, possibly. I hope that I can't remember her name now. I've lost her name. But anyway, the woman that was charged outside of the ICE facility, the Maryland congresswoman. Was it Maryland? I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway. But that woman was charged. Now, this woman also needs to be charged. Look at her activities. Look at what she does in this video. Salty Texan video, police cam footage showing Worcester City Council member, I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but it's like Hatel Hoxad, something like that, putting her hands on federal and local law enforcement officers and obstructing the arrest of illegal aliens despite warnings. Play it for me.
Guys, you gotta step back.
Take her! Stay back. No, ma'am, this is my constituent. No, you do not touch me. Do not touch me. I need you to go over there. I need you to not touch me. You're obstructing a federal arrest. Do not touch me. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Please don't touch me. Come on.
You're obstructing a federal arrest right now. Do you understand that?
Let's go.
You can be charged. We could absolutely. You step off the vehicle.
I understand. You, no, I'm the district council. I have a right to be here. Do not touch me. Touching me. No.
Guys, you gotta step away. You're hurting her. Would you stop this? Listen, would you stop it? Listen. Back away from the car.
Let her go. She's my constituent.
The people who are under arrest are under arrest,
She's
okay?
not. She hasn't done anything.
She's under arrest.
She's not under arrest. She hasn't done anything. Sean, she hasn't done anything, Sean.
Stop.
She hasn't done anything. Let her go. Please let her go. Let her go. She hasn't done anything. She's traumatized. She's traumatized. Why are you holding her?
Just get out of this area. Can we start walking?
Let her go.
Get her back up, man. Get her back up. You can't be up on us. Please, back up.
She's my constituent. She's my constituent.
Okay, well, you can go to the station when she gets her bail, okay?
She's done nothing. What are you doing? Why are you arresting her? Why are you arresting her?
Counsel, you cannot. Just back up, man. You have to back away. Back away. You gotta back away.
Are you threatening?
Back away. Get your hands off of us. Absolutely
Back up.
Absolutely not.
Let her go. She hasn't done anything. She hasn't done anything.
Jesus, bro.
All right, lots of criticism on this thing. First of all, I got the state wrong. It's LaMonica McIver in the New Jersey. That's the one who's been charged by Alina Hobbit, the U.S. attorney out of New Jersey. So she's being charged with basically doing what this woman did. And by the way, what she did here looks worse, if not as bad. It's worse in that it was longer. McIver's like throwing elbows. So that was in Newark, New Jersey. LaMonica McIver, Congresswoman out of New Jersey. That's along with Chris Van Hollen was the one out of Maryland with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man, the Maryland dad. So here she is. Okay, right here. Let's criticize this first of all. Okay. Now I know what the cops are thinking, but there comes a time. How do you know, Tom? Because I've been in 1,000 of these situations. Right here, Tom. What do you talk? I was a cop for 25 years. You can check it all out. Type it right now. Tom Laipply, right? Go right to Google. Tom Laipply, Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, and you'll see my stuff will pop up. But anyway, okay, this is that. She's arrested now. Like what you do is you extract the tumor out of the situation. You've got to go. Everyone in law enforcement has got to stop acting in fear. If I arrest her, I'm going to be headline news. You already are for not arresting her. So you might as well, and very simple. I mean, look at all the dudes. You got all the dudes. And you've got an effeminate, that looks like a man who has taped on boobs, but it is a woman. But anyway, it looks like she taped them on. I'm a woman. Right there, the one in the green shirt. But anyway, so look at the size of these law enforcement officers. Take the woman down, arrest her. All you got to do is push her up against the car, put her hands behind her back, and escort her away, whisk her away, and all your problems are solved. But instead, you end up with this the entire time. Why are you arresting her? This is my constituent. She's laying hands on law enforcement officers. Let me just tell you something. 25 years in law enforcement, you know how much I let people lay hands on me? None. You lay your hands on me, you're going to freaking jail now. Now. I mean, you can ask anybody I worked with. You do not lay hands on me. I remember going to a police call and there was two gay guys fighting each other. Those can be some violent times. And one of the gay guys, it was just running around the house and kind of like pushing I had a cop that worked for me at the time, kind of pushing him out of the way as they were going back and forth. Well, I arrived on scene. When I arrive on scene, it's going to be settled. There won't be any more yelling and screaming. Nobody's going to be rampaging all around the house. But the other cop was just letting it happen. And the guy put his hand on my chest and like tried to push me out of the way. And I smashed him up against the wall. Problem solved. That's the end of that. No question. But he smashed up against the wall. You are detained. That's the end of it. That woman, and again, I hate to criticize ICE. This is a mixture of ICE and local cops. You know better than this. You don't let this happen. You don't let this. What are you doing pushing her away? That's an arrest. That's an arrest. Come on. I'm so sick of seeing it. Where's the training behind these things? I watch all these cops now. It's like, sir, put your hands behind your back. Sir, put your hands behind your back. 32nd time. Sir, put your hands behind your back. I always gave people 3. Put your hands behind your back. And I had them count in my mind. 1, put your hands behind your back. 2, put your hands behind your back. Going down. That's the end of it. I'm not putting, look at this. How do you put up with this? All right, you can't. All right, so that's attacking the cops. And I'm going to tell you, if you keep allowing this to happen, you're going to keep having these city, these council members, congressmen, congresswomen behaving like this. You can't do this. That is obstruction. That is obstructing. That is obstructing the lawful orders of law enforcement officer, the lawful practices of a law enforcement officer. And look at her. I mean, you can't do any of this. Come on. Look at this woman. Look at her. Like, Tom, get past it. It's tough for me to get, I'm going to tell you, it's tough for me to get past the COVID stuff, and it's tough for me to get past police incompetence. It really is, because that's incompetence. You have to arrest this woman. Yes, there's going to be political ramifications. So what? So what? She's a city councilwoman. Who cares? And you have her on video committing mass batteries on law enforcement officers and obstruction. She's obstructing the lawful duties of a law enforcement officer. It's over. Arrest her. And again, she's spouting the usual rhetoric. Let's attack her now. Etel, that's what let's call her. Etel. It's Etel Haksayed or something like that. So she's talking, this is my constituent. No, she's not. She's an illegal alien. She's nobody's constituent. She's a constituent of whatever country she came from. That she's not your constituent. And number 2, she's spouting the usual rhetoric. Oh, you don't have a warrant. Don't need one. Do everyone realize that in most cases for arrests, you don't ever have a warrant? Does everybody realize? It's not like TV. Excuse me, sir. Here's a warrant for your arrest. Put your hands behind your back. Okay, it never happens that way. I don't care what, whatever the shows are. I can't remember their names now. NCIS or whatever. Law and Order and all that. That's all crap, okay? It's not how it works. You can talk to Will about how combat really works. You know what combat is? Talk to him. Hours and hours of horrible dirtiness and boredom, and then mixed with a few seconds of horror. That's what it is. And law enforcement's not much different. So that's it. So she's out there just spouting off the liberal rhetoric. Where's your warrant? She's my constituent. All lies. And she should have been arrested immediately. Go to the next one for me. Here's just a picture. She immediately blocked all of her posts on Twitter. There she is. District 5 from Worcester, Massachusetts. Should have been arrested. Now should have a criminal record. And by the way, you can still arrest her. It's on video. Now you can get a warrant. Now you have to get a warrant. Okay, now you're going to have to get a warrant. You're going to have to go have a judge sign a warrant and go arrest her. There should be an immediate warrant for numerous charges of obstruction, numerous charges of battery on law enforcement officer. It's very simple. Let's go to the next one. Speaking of obstructing law enforcement, Aaron, can you side by side that? Okay, how many more of these guys? We all know that basically he's a receiver in a homosexual relationship. Okay, we know that. But anyway.
Yes, he is.
I mean, how more of these? I mean, they all look the same, whether it's Ted Wheeler out of Seattle. I mean, one right after another. All these effeminate Democrats. So Democrats are spending $20 million trying to reach men now. Okay, this is what you're going to reach. This is not, if he qualifies as a man, it's by one chromosome. If he qualifies as a man. I mean, they're all the same. All of these effeminate Democrat men. And by the way, we have many of them in the Republican Party also. You know what? Do some push-ups in your life. I mean, you know what? Maybe bench press a little bit. Do a little weightlifting. I mean, don't look like this as a man. Just let's look a little bit different than this as a man. I'm not saying you have to be Mr. Jacked or you're, Mr. Bodybuilder, but can we all not look like this? And then, because all these guys, they finally, we all know, what was he? What was he in middle school and high school? The dweeb that everybody picked on. We all know that. And somehow he skirted his way through the political realm and has found a position of power. And now he wields that power as retribution against all the people that picked on him, which would be the Republicans in his eyes. So this is Nashville's Democratic mayor. He has been doxing ICE agents. Play it for me.
Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell is under the microscope following his actions during the crackdown on illegal immigrants by ICE and the Tennessee Highway Patrol. Congressman Andy Ogles says the mayor is interfering with justice, listing several concerns. The biggest, he says, is releasing information of the names of federal immigration officials and some locations of their encounters with emergency services departments like Metro Police.
You know, he can have his woke righteousness, but when somebody gets hurt because he's putting ICE names and locations out on the internet, there could be criminal and civil penalties that ensues.
It's all a part of O'Connell's amended Executive Order 30, posted publicly on the Office of New Americans website. The mayor's spokesperson tells me the data is for transparency and it dates back to the previous mayor John Cooper's administration. But the dates on the interactions go back to July 2024, long after Cooper left office. The mayor's office claims that's because there were no reported interactions with ICE 7 months prior to July. Fox 17 News is working to confirm this with local emergency departments. Mayor Cooper's original order allowed 3 days to report immigration communications. Mayor O'Connell's version requires 1 business day, speeding things up. Earlier this month, we asked Mayor O'Connell if he intends to tip off migrants with the data.
That's really not the intended point. The intended point was for us to have some awareness, and what has happened more recently is a technical update.
Congressman Ogle says the mayor is wrong to do this.
He's putting federal law enforcement and local law enforcement in harm's way,
which adds to his call for the Homeland and Judiciary committees to investigate the mayor's actions.
Well, of course, they show the horrified kid. Fox has to come through and show the horrified kid at the last second. They're illegal. I love how this all gets equated with, paralleled with Hitler rounding up Jews. I love it. There is no equity between the two. There is none. Was Hitler rounding up a bunch of illegals that had invaded his country? No, he was rounding up his own Jewish citizens, as well as other people who are actual citizens. That's what made it bad. And killing them, of course, made it bad also, but we're just talking about the roundup right now. What made it bad was he was rounding up his own citizens and then extinguishing them in concentration camps, and he did it around the globe too, and it wasn't just the Jews. Millions of Jews, Gypsies, Slavics, and many others, Polish, many others were executed in concentration camps. First of all, nobody's being executed. You know what's happening here? It would be the equivalent, if you're going to equate it to Hitler, that would be Hitler rounding up people and bringing them back to their homes. Did Hitler do that? No, Hitler brought them to concentration camps, gassed them, and burned them. Okay, none of that is happening. These are people who illegally entered the country. Hitler never got rid of one person who illegally entered his country. He got rid of all the people who were born in his country and other countries. So, I mean, please, it's just such crap. It's absolute crap, and nobody's being harmed. Nobody's being killed. Simply like Kilmar Abreu Garcia, brought back to where you were born. El Salvador, congratulations. That's where you were born. That's where your citizenship is. Remember when you illegally entered the country in 2012 and then were caught trafficking 7 men in 2022? And were given a final order of removal 3 years before that, and then after you got a final order of removal with a withholding order on it, you were caught trafficking 7 men in Tennessee, and your withholding order was only on there because what they were doing was protecting you from being deported back to El Salvador, where you were going to be attacked by a rival gang. So it's a rival gang. That means you were in a gang called MS-13. I mean, the narrative is so absolutely asinine coming from the left. It's actually hard to argue with it because it's so stupid. So here you have this angry little weenie, Freddie O'Connell, exacting revenge from when everybody stole his lunch money when he was 8 years old. And I asked Aaron while we were watching this, how in the world does this hyper leftist get elected in Nashville, Tennessee? It's because of the culture of like Garth Brooks. You know, people like Garth Brooks, they come across, they paint themselves as pseudo-conservatives, and you find out when you get through the cowboy hat and the twang and how he talks, you end up finding out that he's Mr. LGBTQ trans rights guy, Dylan Mulvaney, Bud Light man. That's who Garth Brooks is. That's how you end up with these little leftist weenies in power, people like Garth Brooks. And Freddie O'Connell, mayor of Nashville, he's putting out ICE names and operation locations. Will said it when we were watching it. He should be arrested. Yeah. We need to roll the dice here and start arresting these people. Well, it might turn bad for us. Okay, so what? Okay, well, they'll do it to us. Did you hear yourself just say that? They've already been doing that to us. Should I go through the list once again? They arrested Donald Trump. You're like, they didn't really. Yeah, he was arrested twice, just so everybody knows. Just because you aren't perp walk with your hands behind your back. Remember, he had a mug shot in Atlanta. He was criminally charged in New York, so that is arrested. Criminally charged in Atlanta, arrested. Criminally charged in D.C., arrested. His home was raided. Peter Navarro, sentenced to prison. Steve Bannon, sentenced to prison. We've never seen this before in the history of our country where the current administration retroactively goes and criminally charges the former administration until Biden came along, and then they accuse us of weaponizing the DOJ. You're like, the level of absurdity, Tom, is hard to verbalize. It is, because they are accusing you of that which they do, which is a Stalinist principle all the way. They'll even use the Nazis, and knowing that they're Nazis will call you a Nazi. The Stalinists, knowing that they're Stalinists, will call you a Stalinist to get you removed so they can install their Stalinist ways. So this guy actually puts out the names and locations of ICE agents. He needs to be put in prison. Absolutely. Why? Why are we even waiting? That's the problem with Pam Bondi. And maybe she's being held back by Donald Trump. I don't know. I can't blame her. We don't know. It's a problem with Kash Patel and Bongino. These people need to be arrested. Why is it that the pretty girl has to do it? Alina Habba. Well, she's the only one who does anything.
Yep.
I mean, seriously, she's basically a U.S. attorney for New Jersey. I don't know what her official title is. It's something else besides U.S. attorney. I can Aaron type and he'll find it. But anyway, you just send it to me when you get it. But anyway, she's the only one who does anything. She's the one who arrested McIver, LaMonica McIver. She's the only one who does anything. I didn't hear her asking Trump if she could do it or not. She went out and did it. That's one of Trump's attorneys, one of his criminal defense attorneys. She went out and arrested him. I mean, arrested, it's not really, it was not arrest. It was, she basically impaneled a grand jury and is trying to file charges against her. Nobody else is doing it. Why am I not hearing, this is a federal case. If we go back to Atel Hoxayed, the woman who was attacking ICE agents, pushing them out of the way and claiming this is my constituent and where's your warrant? Why is she not already arrested by the FBI? Why? She battered, and why haven't the local law enforcement officers arrested her for battery? Yeah, it is U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. I actually got it right. Counselor to the President. Thank you. That's Alina Habba. She's the only one. She's the only one that has done anything. Where's everybody else? Why is Kash Patel not come out and given a national statement about the obstruction of ICE by the mayor of Nashville, by the city councilwoman of whatever town that was, I can't remember it now, in Massachusetts? Where are the statements from our DOJ? There certainly would be if we were out there, if Biden was in office, or I just threw up my mouth a little bit, Kamala Harris was in office, we were out there doing that and obstructing them. Well, first of all, we'd be swept up right then and there, and you never see us again. We'd be marched off to one of their COVID camps. They aren't called COVID camps. I'm just being facetious right now. But anyway. But when they do it, nothing. And so you know what they're going to do? Guess what they're going to keep doing, Aaron, when you don't do anything? They're just going to keep on doing it.
Yep.
They're going to keep on doing it. That's why you can't sit here and go, well, if we do it to them, then they're going to do it to us. No, they've already done it to us. And if they get power again, let's all ask ourselves a question right now. If Hakeem Jeffries, if he becomes Speaker of the House, is he going to impeach Trump? Of course.
Yeah.
Of course he is. Okay, so why did we never impeach Biden? Because we had Donald Trump get impeached in office, and for the first time in history, a man got impeached after he left office. This doesn't even make sense. That's like being fired after you were laid off. All right, I got to stop talking. All right, here we go. Let's go to the next one. Still at the border. Matt Finn video. Exclusive video. Go inside Homeland Security's dramatic raid of a transnational fraud ring that stole just $30 million. Play it for me.
Come out with your hands up.
Fox News exclusively capturing Homeland Security's sunrise bust of this Armenian-born man at his LA area home. The suspect, who uses the alias William McGrayan, surrenders with his hands over his head. Investigators say McGrayan is the brains of a transnational crime ring that stole $30 million in COVID relief and small business loans meant to help tax-paying Americans.
If you're engaged in fraud, if you're taking money from the government that doesn't belong to you,
your door could be the next one that we're hitting.
According to court documents, an informant describes McGrayan as unhinged, claiming he talked about his ties to gangs in Armenia and threatened one person with a gun and a baseball bat. In the multi-agency sting led by DHS, 14 people were taken into custody.
The suspects are simultaneously arrested across town so they can't tip one another off, and then they're brought to this special processing center to be booked.
The suspects are charged with conspiracy, wire and bank fraud, and money laundering. Investigators say multiple shell companies were created using phony documents. Some of the money was spent on homes and luxury goods. The rest was wired to Armenia, making it harder for the U.S. to trace.
These fraudsters applied for $47 million in federal funds. They got away with about 30. Most are Armenian born, but have become naturalized, and at least one faces deportation.
All right, that's all in Los Angeles. And Will asked a very poignant question, and let's go over that as we're watching this. If Trump wasn't in office, would any of these people be arrested? Aaron, if you could do me a favor, you can find a couple of the videos of Joe Biden's raids like this.
Oh, let me see. Nope.
Oh, there aren't any. Can we all, I mean, for the last 4 years, going from January 20th, retroactive 4 years, find one of those. You won't. You won't find anything. They answer Will's question, which you knew the answer because he was saying it facetiously. They didn't do any of this. You're wondering why it is that we are $37 trillion in debt. And I'm not going to go into my NGO rant. This is one of the waste, fraud, and abuse. What would this fall under? Thank you, Aaron. You're the man. This would fall under fraud. How did they get it? COVID-19. They said COVID-19 and small business loans. I'm guessing that it was small business loans because of COVID-19. Right. The great fraud, the great pandemic. They applied for $47 million worth of loans, and they only got $30 million, and they never would have been found. They never would have been arrested under the Biden administration, and this big wheel just keeps on turning. Proud Mary. There it is. Just keep on turning, baby. So now that you have Trump in office, one raid after another. And by the way, this is my final comment on that. What was their immigration status? They were all Armenians legally allowed in. Why are we allowing these people in? Here's my moratorium. We need to have a moratorium on all illegal immigration. It should be 0.0, which basically Trump has already done. 96% of the border is completely closed. But we still have, and I don't mean to be redundant, but I want everybody to please understand the immigration system in this country. This is not counting illegals. This is not counting gotaways. This is not, because all that you hear, Biden let in 12 million. That doesn't count the gotaways. And gotaways are what is seen leaving, so they actually count them. So you can add the gotaways to the 12 to 15 million allowed in. But then, according to CBP statistics, it's always 1 to 5 times what they tell you, and they're being honest with you because they don't know how many people actually cross the border. They don't know how many people cross the border, so they have to say it's at least 1 times as many. So if they say it's 5 million, it's at least 10 million that cross the border. So when you hear Biden let in, because you hear it on Fox News, 12 million, it's 24 million minimum, because the 12 million is not counting gotaways. So you add 1 million for gotaways, and then you have to times it all by at least 2. That's CBP. That's not me making up. You can pull that up. That is CBP statistical data. So legal immigration in this country, we need to have a moratorium on it, except for people that we recruit. Let's go steal all the good people. Absolutely. Let's go steal. That's what you do. Recruit. Shut down all legal migration because it's chain migration. It's chain migration. Because it's not for all they say you'll hear it all the time. We let in 1 million people. It's Potomac math. It's DC swamp establishment math. When they tell you that they let in between 1 and 1.2 million legal entries every year in the United States. It's not that number. That's the person that's counted. It's swamp math. It's like when they tell you, we have lowered the deficit. They didn't lower the deficit. They lowered the increase to the deficit. So normally we would add $800 billion to the deficit. And it was supposed to be $860 billion this year, but we lowered it to $858 billion. So we lowered it by $2 billion. Did they lower it by $2 billion? Or did they increase it by $58 billion? This Potomac math. So when they tell you they allow in over 1 million legal immigrations per year, it's actually 4 to 5 to 6 times that many because it's chain migration. So when they allow in Bob Smith, they're also allowing in Ann Smith, his wife, his daughter, his son, and parents. So you have 6 people for one. That's a fact. You pull it up. Please, I love it. Fact check me. I love when people fact check me. Because you know what you're going to find? It's just like when I have people come up to me. We don't agree with you. Give me your Bible verse. They come to me. They don't do it anymore at the church. Everyone doesn't do it anymore. So I can't. The stories are fading fast because there's so many defeats. Because you're not going to defeat me. I mean, it's not because I'm anything. It's simply because I've memorized, not all of it, big chunks of God's word. So, and I preach off of that, and people come to me, I don't agree with you. Okay, give me your Bible verses, because here's 14 Bible verses coming your way machine gun style, and you have nothing. It's the same thing. I love it. Go fact check me. That's exactly what they do. That is the legal immigration system. So we are allowing in between 2 and 6 million per year anyway, on top of Biden's 20 million that he let in. It's Hitler getting rid of them. How did Hitler have a mass migration into Germany? Okay, how's it Hitler-esque in any way, shape, or form? Are these people going to concentration camps? No, going back to their home countries where they belong. They're not financially benefiting our country at all. I think there's some exceptions to that. I think we ought to have a worker permit program, a green worker permit program. I don't mean green environmental. I mean like a green card worker permit. Absolutely. And here's the thing, too. I've had friends from Canada. They can't come in. They're coming in to actually start businesses and add to our economy, and they can't come in. They have to go through this rigorous process. I have a couple of them at my church. These are friends of mine. And they have to fly back and justify their reasons for staying in the United States. One of them works for the church right now. These illegals don't have to do any of that. And as a Democrat, you're claiming that you're a purveyor of fairness? It's exactly the opposite. You're allowing mass cheating. Is it really 951? What happened to the show, man? All right, let's look at, here's Tim Walz's opinion of ICE. Play it for me.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye, just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. To be clear, there's no way for us to know whether they were actually criminals or not, because they refused to give them a trial. We're supposed to just take their word for it.
But Tampon Timmy never said one word when Hussein Obama deported 4 million of them. And by the way, we're on pace right now, the Trump administration, 3,000 a day to deport about 3 million. So they'll do less than Obama because Obama estimates are 3 to 5 million. Tampon Timmy never said one word about it. When Bill Clinton deported 12 million, Tampon Timmy, a little older than me, or he's within 5 years of me, one way or the other. He never said a word, not one word. See, imagine what you look like. See, Aaron never changes, Will never changes, I don't change. We are yes or we are no, and it stays the exact same. It's called being a principled person. So what is wrong when Donald Trump does something that is wrong, Will says that is wrong. If Biden does the same thing, he'll go, Biden is wrong, because the principle remains the same. Not Tampon Timmy. Tampon Timmy muted during all the Obama deportations, all the Bush deportations, all the Clinton deportations, all the H.W. Bush deportations. Only Donald Trump deportations violate the morality of Tampon Timmy. And then he calls our ICE. I mean, they're wondering why it is that we've had 3 assassination attempts that we know of against Donald Trump. 1 or 2 against Supreme Court justice, because Tampon Timmy calls ICE agents Gestapo. By the way, that was a Libs of TikTok video. Calls them, it's older, people have seen it. It was pretty viral. Calls them, quote, modern day Gestapo, who picks these people up in the middle of the night and brings them to torture dungeons. That's what he said. He didn't say torture, but he said dungeons. It was some other word, though. It was like torture dungeons. We bring him to dungeons. Where? I guess he was talking about Kilmar Abreu Garcia, the human trafficker, the wife beater, the man with a final order of removal. How's that Hitler-esque? Did all the Jews have final orders of removal? No. The Jews in Germany were the richest and the biggest contributors into the economy. And imagine how stupid that was to deport all of them. That was smart of Hitler. What an idiot. See, that's why people end up the thing is, now we have had to up our rhetoric because of the rhetoric the left points at us. So I just pointed right back at them. Who has all the Nazi traits? They do. We don't have any traits of Nazi. We're talking about Gestapo. Let's look at the traits. Let's compare Tampon Timmy with me. I'm the ultimate right-wing guy, right? So let's compare. He calls me a Nazi. Well, let's look. Who confiscated guns? Adolf Hitler. Okay. Who did mass experimentations on human beings? Adolf Hitler. Tim Walz is in favor of both of those two things. Gun confiscations and mass experimentations on human beings. Not only with the COVID clot shot, but lopping off penises, testicles, and breasts of 15-year-old children. Tampon Timmy wants to do all that. He wants to give puberty blockers to kids without any long-term studies whatsoever. He wants to give you a COVID vaccination with no long-term studies whatsoever that's now proven to have killed 36 million people using the Society of Actuary data. So not only that, but Tampon Timmy likes to orchestrate his own personal Holocaust every year inside of the state of Minnesota with thousands upon thousands of black kids and Hispanic kids that he claims to be their advocate. He claims to be an advocate for. He loves to butcher them in the womb. Do I do any of that? So who's more like Hitler? 41.2 million abortions per year, and that Tampon Timmy supports, and I'm Hitler? Who wants to have a disinformation governance board like the Ministry of Truth and Propaganda out of Hitler's Nazi administration? That would be Tampon Timmy. So he wants to ban speech. He wants to confiscate firearms. He wants to do mass experimentations and mass genocides. We have nothing. I have nothing in common with Nazis whatsoever. And then they have the nerve of saying that Hitler was alt-right when he was a leftist, a National Socialist, Nazi, National Socialist Party. I mean, it's amazing. All right, let's go to Trump. Hey, we'll get to what the show's all about at 9:56. So let's go to Trump's victories. Put that up there for me. Gateway Pundit article. Breaking: Federal Appeals Court reinstates Trump's tariffs. So here's the article. A snippet from the article. Federal Appeals Court on Thursday today temporarily reinstated President Trump's tariffs after the Court of International Trade, which, to be honest with you, I never heard of. I never heard of it. In New York, in New York, of course. What city? What state? Aaron, what state? Will New York, of course, has to be in New York for it to be the International Court of the Court of International Trade has to be in New York. Said that that court said President Trump exceeded his authority to impose tariffs. So a bunch of leftist globalist bourgeois elitists said that President Trump exceeded his authority to impose tariffs under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977. The Trump administration immediately appealed the federal court's permanent injunction. It was a permanent injunction. That's eliminating all of his tariffs that have done. What has he done? These tariffs have Ursula von der Leyen on her knees begging for a deal. We've reversed everything. We were paying exorbitant tariffs to China. Now they're paying exorbitant tariffs to us, and we're paying minuscule ones to them. He did it. I mean, amazing what he has accomplished in 128 days. The whole border's closed. I'm not a big fan of the big, beautiful bill, but the jury's out on that. And like I said, the debt clock will be the eye in the sky that does not lie. So this court comes out and says, he can't, the president, and again, where were all these courts when every other president has levied tariffs or taken tariffs away? I'm wondering where they all are. It's as if there's an undercurrent of bourgeois, leftist, globalist, elitist activists in the judiciary, which of course there is. The Trump administration immediately appealed the federal court's permanent injunction on Wednesday evening. The en banc order, court's entire slate of judges, en banc order, granted the Trump administration an immediate administrative stay less than 24 hours later. Do you know what that means? That your injunction sucks and has no legal precedent whatsoever. One judge did not participate, but it was a unanimous decision. The request for an immediate administrative stay is granted to the extent that the judgments and the permanent injunctions entered by the Court of International Trade in these cases are temporarily stayed until further notice while the court considers the motions papers, the Federal Circuit Court said, according to the order reviewed by the Gateway Pundit. According to CNN, the federal court's Wednesday injunction halted Trump's 30% tariffs on China. Well, that's a great thing to do, isn't it? Let's hurt America for China's sake. It's as if they're on China's side because none of these people are Americans. They're global citizens. You better be careful of them. It's like I tell my church, you better watch out for the offended people. You better watch out for the globalists because they do not consider us a sovereign nation. They consider us a globalist state of a united globalist states of the globe. That's what they consider us. The injunction, the one that was from the Court of International Trade, I'll probably have that memorized soon. But anyway, Court of International Trade. That court halted Trump's 30% tariffs on China, his 25% on some goods imported from Mexico and Canada, and the 10% universal tariffs on most goods coming into the United States. It does not, however, affect the 25% tariffs on autos, auto parts, steel, and aluminum, which are subject to Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act, a different law than the one Judge Trump cited for his broader trade order. So there you go. So big win right there. And when on earth did the courts get the idea that they could initiate international diplomatic policy or trade policy? Whether it's Jeb Bossberg halting flights to El Salvador, what on earth is going on? And we need to remember this. I don't even want to say it because I don't ever want to say things. I'm not speaking this into existence. It simply is an if. It's not even an if. I want to take it away. It's hypothetical. If a Democrat is ever president again, we need to remember this and simply halt all they do. File 250. It's got to be between 250 and 300 lawsuits against Donald Trump now. We need to do the exact same thing and bring their agenda to a slow crawl, which is what they're doing under Trump. Which is a sad, like to see. I know this was the day that Elon was supposed to walk away, but he seems demoralized. Can't get demoralized. You have to keep on fighting. You have to just keep on going. I don't like the big, beautiful bill. But listen, there are a lot of wins, folks. There's a lot of wins. Like I love the Trump presidency until 2020. I mean, 17, 18. I retired from the sheriff's office in 2017. I was a cop from 1992 to 2017. And I was so elated. I basically retired into Trump. It was fantastic. He was elected president right in the last 6 months of my career. He was elected president in November of 2016, became president January 20th, 2017. And it was absolutely glorious. And then COVID hit. But even with COVID, man, he was so far above. I don't like Operation Warp Speed. Let me rephrase that. I hate it. I hate Operation Warp Speed. I hate 15 days to flatten the curve, which turned into 60 days to flatten the curve. But then Trump cut it all off and was calling for national school openings that Randy Weingarten, of course, opposed and now claims she didn't. She has Jake Tapper disease. Claimed the exact opposite of what you espoused. And basically now espouse the exact opposite, claiming that you never said what you said, Jake Tapper disease. But you have to just appreciate how great it is. I mean, I'll get negative about the big, beautiful bill. But, you have Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, claiming that we're going to grow our way out of the debt. I hope he's right. Aaron, you got the debt clock?
Yep.
This will be what we look at. This is it right here. And listen, I'm rooting against myself. I really am. I'm rooting against myself because I hope it proves me wrong. That they don't add a single debt, or that the big, beautiful bill does not add a single dollar to the deficit. I really do. It's definitely going to add to deficit spending, but what they're saying is that the growth will overcome deficit spending and therefore shrink the debt. Well, we will see. This is it. And we will put this up because we will know the results of the big, beautiful bill within the next 2 years, and Aaron and I and Will continue to put this up. Say, did it work or did it not? Were we right? And I hope 2 years from now we're at $30 trillion in debt. I hope that's the case. All right, let's go to the next one. I don't even know where I'm at. Is it rapid response, Will? Is that where we're at?
Yep.
All right, rapid response 47. So here's Peter Navarro speaking about that. This was just prior to the court, the win in the court where you had the appellate court remove the again, I don't want to get the name right. The where is it? What the heck? Where the heck is that?
Court of International Trade.
That's it. Gosh, where is it though? But anyway, yeah, was that the right one? Is that the right name, Aaron? Court of I don't know. Where the heck is it?
Yeah, Court of International Trade.
So right
in New York.
before that, the Court of International Appeals injunction was lifted. Here was a brief interview with Navarro. Play it for me.
Emergency is $1.3 trillion a year going abroad, $18 trillion of American wealth so far transferred into foreign hands, and millions of jobs lost. Hundreds of thousands of factories gone. That's the emergency. And the American people understand this. Okay. Main Street understands this. Wall Street is in denial about this. And this rogue court apparently doesn't think that having Main Street America dying from fentanyl and not having jobs is an emergency. We think it is. And
And she breaks right in right after he gets done talking. She breaks in and says, "We're getting a news report, breaking news that that ruling had been overturned or stayed, really not overturned, but stayed from the Court of International Trade." Look at the freaking economy. I thought that who was that freaking CNN woman's name? Oh man, where's my buried stack? Jennifer Welch. Is that Jennifer Welch? This is a laughingstock in an economy in decline. Everything's green. Look at the Dow. Look at this. 577,000 jobs added in April, and we're in an economy in decline in the laughingstock after Trump secures $14 trillion of almost exclusively foreign investment in our economy, which is another way that he could beat the BBB, the Big Beautiful Bill. I mean, when you're going to, if you are going to invest $14 trillion into our GDP. Okay, maybe Bessett's right. Bessett's a smart dude. Maybe he's right. I mean, again, there's things that's part of the big parts of the Big Beautiful Bill where it's still funding green energy and NGOs, Democratic Party NGOs, but there's a lot of good stuff in it too. All right, let's go to the next one. So, pick from the Gateway Pundit: Supreme Court reins in judges a little bit in latest ruling. Is it a win? Yes. So we're going to talk about it? Yes. So here it is from the Gateway Pundit. The U.S. Supreme Court on Thursday, today, two big wins. That's what the title of the show. Get this, Aaron. Get this, Will. In an 8-0 ruling, I believe Kavanaugh or Gorsuch wasn't present. So this was everybody. 8-0 ruling reined in judges. You know why they're doing this from the left? Because they know that they're showing us a game plan. That the next time they're in office, we'll file 300, 400 lawsuits against them. And then their agenda will be working its way through the mud and the tar pits like right now Donald Trump's having to do it. The U.S. Supreme Court on Thursday, in an 8-0 ruling, rated judges just a little bit as rogue judges wage a war on the Trump administration. The High Court limited judicial review in cases related to energy and transportation projects and infrastructure. Well, that's a good thing. At issue was the National Environmental Policy Act. Oh, gosh, all of this minutia. A decades-old law that opened the door for the left to paralyze economic growth because all they have to do is do the same cries of the left, whether it's DEI, whether it's ESG, and they just have to make the thing that I hate the most, a general, non-specific claim. It's hurting the environment. Everything has shut down then. That's all they have to do. That's what the National Environmental Policy Act institutionalized. Economic development by blocking projects over environmental concerns. Why can't we build this factory or refinery? Environmental concerns. Why can't we build this oil refinery? Environmental concerns. Why can't we build this building or this neighborhood? Environmental concerns. They shut it all down to lessen your choices to leverage you into a one world economy, a 15-minute city. Far left environmental groups have used the NEPA to stop the expansion of oil refineries. I'm trying to remember. Don't hold this as gospel. But I believe our last oil refinery build, the last time we built an oil refinery was over 30 years ago in the United States of America. All because of, get ready, environmental concerns. Expansion of oil refineries and other important energy projects. Supreme Court said NEPA cannot be weaponized to micromanage, delay, or block new projects based on environmental efforts. Gorsuch, who was the one who wasn't there, was not present. The rest of it was 8-0. It was a unanimous ruling. You never, ever see that. So the big wins for Trump. This one here is classified as a small one, but it's actually a big win because it's small, but it can be very expansive because they make the NEPA very expansive, where they just say you can or cannot do this because of environmental concerns. So it's a big win classified as a small win. And let me just show you how this works. This is a great example. I don't know if this is from last year or a year before. It's obviously modern when you look at the age of Gavin Newsom. It's a Kevin Dalton video. This is how it will work. If you're ever wondering how it is that you'll be leveraged into a one world economy with a single access point controlled by the leftists, that's the whole point of it. That's the point of COVID, CBDC, social credit systems, climate change, transgenderism, all of it. The point is to make this a checkbox society where you have to check certain boxes or you can't participate. You can't participate in society. You cannot participate in economy. And I'm talking about buy, sell, trade, travel, medicine, dentist, anything if you're not compliant. So this is how it kind of works. What they do, it's not even how it kind of works. This is the beginning. It's just like right now as they're making Australia cashless. Don't worry, Aaron, it's voluntary.
Oh.
So right now, there is a biometric ID available in Australia. But again, Will, don't worry. It's voluntary. But the only problem is...
Wonderful.
It's wonderful.
He's wonderful.
It's wonderful. Does it? Yeah, so, but don't worry, it's vulnerable. Vulnerable. Don't worry, it's voluntary. Only problem is that now every business requires the use of it. Whoops. So you don't have to have it, but you just won't be able to buy milk for your kids. So it's still voluntary. You can starve to death voluntarily. That's how it works. And see, this is a great example of how they leverage you into a one world commerce system using climate change. Play it for me.
California and many other western states are experiencing simply unprecedented temperatures. In fact, this heat wave is on track to be both the hottest and the longest on record for the state and many parts of the West for the month of September. Californians, you've stepped up to help in a big way to keep the lights on so far, but we're heading to the worst part of this heat wave, and the risk for outages is real and it's immediate. These triple-digit temperatures throughout much of our state are leading, not surprisingly, to record demand on the energy grid. Everyone has to do their part to help step up for just a few more days. Individuals, the state, industries, business, all doing their part to help reduce strain on the grid. Now, here's specifically what you can do. In the early morning hours, particularly tomorrow and the next day or so, pre-cool your home. Run your air conditioning earlier in the day when more power is available. And we encourage you to close your windows and blinds to keep your home cool as well. And today and tomorrow afternoon after 4 p.m., in particular 4 p.m., please turn your thermostat up to 78 degrees or higher and avoid, to the extent possible, using any really large appliances. You can visit flexalert.org to learn more about what you can do. Californians, you've rallied before, and we can do it again.
So tell me why it is. Now, you have California's got 40 million people lived in it, but about 1 million or more have left, and hundreds of thousands are hemorrhaging out on a yearly basis as they've already lost numerous congressional seats because of the depopulation of California, the mass migration away from California. But anyway, why is it that in the state of Florida, we never have rolling blackouts? We have 23 million. We are the third largest state, surpassing New York now, with 23 million people living here. First California, second Texas, and now us. And we never have rolling blackouts, ever. Why is that? Because Gavin Newsom's own green energy policies causes a shortfall in electric power. That's all on purpose to control behavior. You know, now they get to tell you, turn this up, turn this down. Aaron brought up a huge point. They leverage you into an electric vehicle and then tell you not to power it. How much more controlling of their movement, how much more controlling of your movement can they be? Oh, you all have to have an electric car because your gas-powered cars aren't allowed on the road anymore, but we don't have the power grid to charge them, so everybody on a bus and into a 15-minute city. And now you're mass control. They burned down the entire Pacific Palisades, so now they can build a 15-minute city where they will tell you, turn up your air conditioning to 78 degrees, and sometimes they're not even doing it for a specific political purpose. They're doing it for mind control, for suppression. so they can control you, like Stockholm syndrome. Like you're a prisoner. They just control your behavior, and they end up making your will submit to theirs. I better be good, or they're going to make me turn up my air conditioning to 82. That's the point of all of this. Yeah. And I mean, imagine being so incompetent that I'm trying to remember where it is. California, I believe, is the 4th largest economy on the globe. I believe it is that. And you can't provide power to American citizens because of your ridiculous green energy policies, which are all on purpose. They're not ridiculous in that they're stupid. They're ridiculous because they're purposely ridiculous so that the power grid is incompetent. The power grid is incapable of providing adequate power to the citizens of California so that they can be herded into a 15-minute city. That's the point of all of it. It causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. That's what it's all about, folks. All right, that's it, 10:15. Rumble Rants, Nate Dad won $100. Thank you so much, Nate Dad. Texas Billy, my friend, $25. Thank you so much. BP Tim, $17, $10. Thank you so much. Mike Griffith, Foundation Church member, $5. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you in the rant, each and every one of you in the chat. Listen, post game is pretty light. It's a lot of funny stuff. It really, I mean, it's almost all light, lot comedian stuff. You got to watch it. It's great. It's fantastic. No more heavy stuff. A lot of laughs. Good stuff. Stick around for it. Love you guys. Appreciate each and every one of you. Back here tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. God bless you.
Anybody else in here but me ever sinned? If you say that you haven't sinned, you make him a liar and his word does not apply to you. 2 Corinthians 5:21. For he made him who knew no sin to be sin for us, that we might become the righteousness of God in him. He made him sin so that our sin would not apply. I'm not willing to be made your sin for you. God was.
Thanks for watching the Tom Laipply podcast. We appreciate your support. As a special thank you, when you donate $25 or more, you will get a free TLP koozie. Enjoy your favorite cold drink while tuning in to our latest takes on current events. Your support keeps us going. Donate now to claim yours.
Is that your way of saying that you felt the left did that to us? That they just disregarded black folks?
Stephen A., they've been giving us the middle finger since I can remember. All the way back from the Ku Klux Klan. They have never supported black people whatsoever. They hoodwinked us into getting us on food stamps and getting us with government assistance, having us to abandon our own success. We had our own bus line. We had our own schools. We had all this stuff. They tricked us into believing that the white man was the cure to our own issues.
Okay.
They tricked us. And then now look at us, Stephen A. They don't have to bid for our vote. They got our vote hook, line, and sinker.
Well,
so they're never going to do nothing for us.
That part I get. But when you say they did nothing, I'm thinking about civil rights legislation. I'm thinking about infrastructure. I'm thinking about Jim Crow laws, the eradication of it. I'm thinking about the access to capital that was given that black folks had. Date from the 60s and beyond that we didn't have before that. Are you saying that's the Republicans?
That's Republican, unanimous Republican votes for the civil rights. The Democrats filibustered the Civil Rights Act, the longest filibuster in history until Booker just did what he did. Mm-hmm. But the Democrats were not in support of that. That was the Republican Party that was in support of that. And then let's go down the list. If these things were benefiting black people, why are we still complaining today? We've been voting for Democrats for, 40, 50 years now, lockstep, and we still complaining. We still don't have the rights that we want. We still don't have equality in America. Racism is still plaguing our community, according to black people. So what have they been doing this whole time? And when you look at it, they have just secured our vote. and they don't have to do nothing for us. And this is what we've created, Stephen A. We've created an environment where we don't benefit from none of it because the Democrats don't have to work because they know I already got us. The Republicans don't need to work because they can win without us.
I've been saying that.
And I said, don't give me the Bible. I don't want to hear the Bible. And he says, what do you mean? And I said, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in that garbage. And he says, well, what is it about the Bible you don't think is true? And I said, I don't know. I never read it. And he said, well, you're not an atheist. You're a moron. And I have to tell you, I would have hit him, except that I would have lost access to Muirfield Village. And I wasn't going to do that. And I asked him to explain himself, and he said, well, to be honest with you, a true atheist is not only a biblical scholar, but is scholarly in all the face of the earth. And after a long intellectual journey has come to the conclusion that there is no God of the universe. You, on the other hand, want to circumvent the entire intellectual process and just come to the conclusion that there's no God. That's lazy and moronic. I didn't know what to say.
I could code talk to white guys watching football fixing their truck.
First of all, we don't speak in code. You know, we're not aliens. Second of all, I might recommend to the governor that if your first move at a political event is to go right to the jazz hands, maybe you're not speaking the correct language that you think you're speaking, perhaps a different dialect, but this was maybe the dumbest analysis of the 2024 election I'd ever seen. I mean, we know why he was chosen, because she couldn't pick the correct choice because he was Jewish. Let's be honest, she should have picked the governor of Pennsylvania, and her party wouldn't let her do it. So she ends up picking this camouflage hat-wearing buffoon that comes from your state, who I am convinced actually cost her votes, but I am more than glad was on the ticket so that J.D. Vance could kick his ass at the debate.
Why do you think it is that Democrats have had such a hard time convincing men and young men in particular of their message lately, and conservatives have been much more successful at it through Trump?
It's very simple, because they care more about dudes who want to be women than dudes who just want to be dudes. That is the main reason.
Some folks are skeptical. Thankfully, Big Pharma has come up with a way to reassure the public about their motives, and it's all in their new ad.
Are you worried about the future? Unable to sleep at night? Afraid that pharma companies will put their profits ahead of your health? If you are concerned about the cost of a vaccine, ask your doctor about Vaxilax. Vaxilax is the only medication proven to reduce anxiety about Big Pharma taking advantage of you in a national crisis. You can trust Vaxilax because of its mascot, Professor Cashington, the ethical money sack.
Side effects of Vaxilax include legless rest syndrome, kidney rhinestones, crumblefoot, spontaneous beard sparrows, the galloping hoop sticks, spinal crunch wrapping, Ferdinand's flopsy, big old pink face, Gordon's fisherman syndrome, scrotal yodas, chronic vaccine resistance, facial graham crackering, full-blown coronavirus, and dollar bills, y'all.
The vaccine.
You guys shot this guy 68 times. And when the media asked you, why shoot him 68 times? Your answer was, we ran out of bullets. We would have shot him more.
This guy shot and killed our canine, shot and killed our canine handler, shot the backup deputy. Well, he pointed the dead deputy's gun at a SWAT team. What do you think's going to happen? You're going to get shot a lot. You're going to get shot so much you can read the Sunday New York Times through you. And that's what happened.
Guys, it happened again. I was out minding my own business, not bothering anybody, and I got mispigmented. I was at the Dollar Tree. I was picking up some wave caps for the 360 waves I'm growing out. And this guy behind me is like, I didn't know white guys needed those things. And I said, excuse me, bigot? Did you just dead skin me? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what am I talking about? I was assigned white at birth by a doctor, but I identify as a black man. And this whole time, the cashier's just kind of standing there. And I'm like, are you not going to say anything to this racist? She's like, sir, he's an actual black man. I said, actual black man? Do you understand how harmful those words are to transpigmented people like me?
You have a hole that needs to be filled? The city of Kenosha takes public safety very seriously, which is why we're excited to launch our new Show Us Your Hole public safety initiative. To participate, simply send us a picture of your hole along with its location and the tagline, "Come fill my hole." We will dispatch our crews to service your hole in a prompt and professional manner. Your satisfaction is our priority.
For example, my mother, she recently purchased a brand new car, and it has all these bells and whistles that no one ever asked for. I'm getting my mom's car for the very first time. I'm backing out of the driveway, and automatically, without me doing anything, automatically a little TV screen pops on, and it plays a video of a kid on a skateboard getting run over.